he placed the bag inside the wardrobe, and at midnight, he opened it. The snake slithered out, as Aala explained, and transformed into a very beautiful woman. Ucha slept with the woman, which was the snake, and she went back into the bag after Ucha was done, just as Aala showed him. Once upon a time, in the fabulous city of Ngede, there lived a very wealthy businessman called Mazi Chike, who had a very successful enterprise with branches and outlets all over the country. However, Mazi Chike had 2 sons who were twins and were birthed on the same day. His wife Ogechi died while giving birth to the twins, so Mazi Chike loved and cherished them so much. The name of the first son was Emeka, while he named the second son Ucha. The 2 sons grew up to be very intelligent and smart, but their personalities were the complete opposites of each other. Emeka was very kind and compassionate. He cared about the poor and rendered assistance whenever he could. Many people loved and admired Emeka. But Ucha, his brother, was very rude and uncompassionate. He disliked the poor and looked down on them. Emeka felt privileged to have so much, and so he always assisted the poor. But Ucha believed that only lazy people were poor. Mazi Chike observed that Emeka was very passionate and everyone loved him. So he wanted Emeka to be the successor of his company. But Ucha was the elder twin, and by right, he was expected to take over the company when Mazi Chike retired. This issue gave Mazi Chike a lot of sleepless nights. But after thinking for a long time, he decided to create a competition between Emeka and Ucha, and whoever wins the competition would be the right heir to his empire. One day, he called both his sons for a very important meeting. In the meeting, his 2 sons and his lawyers were present. You have both grown to be very smart and intelligent, and I am so proud of both of you. But as you know, I would be retiring soon, and one of you is expected to take over my empire. The question is, who would that be? Immediately, Ucha smiled at his father's questions and interrupted him abruptly without waiting for his father to finish. I believe we all know the answer to these questions. I am the first son, and by right, I am the true heir to your empire. Really? His father asked. You're only 5 minutes older than your younger brother. If the heir to my empire is decided based on your age, you both should have equal ownership. What do you mean? Am I not your first son? You are both my sons, and I love you both equally, his father replied. I feel it wouldn't be fair for anyone to inherit my empire based on age. I want you to show me that you are capable. Then what do you propose? Ucha said. A very good question. Since you are both single and yet to be married, a popular quote says that behind every successful man, there is a woman. Are you trying to say we have to get married first? Yes, any one of you who gets married first would be the rightful heir to my empire. Ucha laughed heartily at his father's proposal. He felt it was a very easy task. "That is not a problem. I would bring you a wife before the end of the week," Uchenna boasted. Meanwhile, Emeka just sat down and listened attentively to all their father was saying. "Emeka, don't you have anything to say?" Mazi Chike asked. Emeka smiled at his father's question and replied, "You are a very wise man. If your empire is the prize, I'm very sure the task wouldn't be this easy. I am eagerly waiting for the terms and the conditions." Mazi Chike smiled at Emeka's words and applauded his intelligence. Then he gestured to his lawyer to give each of them a document. "From now henceforth, you both no longer have access to your father's wealth. A stipulated amount of money will be given to each of you. It will be enough to rent a house and feed you for 3 months. Mazi Chike continued, "You have 1 year to bring home a woman who genuinely and truly loves you, even as a commoner. You have enough money to feed you for 3 months, and in 3 months, you should be able to get a job that should sustain you for the whole year." Emeka smiled at his father's words. He quietly signed the documents and promised his father that he would not disappoint. Then he stood up and left the room. But Uchenna, on the other hand, was seething with rage. "How do you expect me to find a wife in less than a year with peanuts? What kind of house can this money afford? A boy's quarter?" Uchenna complained. However, Mazi Chike told Uchenna that his mind had been made up, and if Emeka should return with a responsible bride before him, then Emeka would be the heir to his empire. "You have 1 week to vacate my house and go in search of a responsible bride," Mazi Chike told Uchenna and walked away. Emeka went inside his room and started thinking of a way to find a virtuous woman who would love him genuinely for his personality and not just what he has. After contemplating for some hours, Emeka decided that he would go to a town very far away from Ngede and pretend to be a crippled man. Emeka told himself that if any woman could love a crippled man, then she would definitely make a very good wife. So he started thinking of the right town to visit. Meanwhile, Uchenna was agitated by his father's words. He was very upset and angry because he hated the poor, and so he couldn't imagine himself living amongst poor people as one of them. Instead of thinking of a way to achieve the goal of getting a virtuous wife, Uchenna started thinking of ways to trick his father into giving him the inheritance irrespective of his decision. He went to see his father. He tried to convince his father to change his mind. "I am the rightful heir to your empire, father. Why are you trying to deny me my birthright?" Mazi Chike smiled at Uchenna's arrogance and pride. "My parents died when I was just 10 years old. They left me with absolutely nothing. I and your mother had to build this empire with our blood and sweat over the years. You should be grateful to be where you are." Are you trying to say we must suffer like you because you suffered? Uchenna, you must learn to be grateful for what you have and what you are given. Bring me a virtuous woman for a wife and inherit my empire. How difficult is that? Mazi Chike was deeply hurt and angry by Uchenna's words, and out of anger, He instructed his security not to let any of his sons anywhere near his company or house until after 12 months, which was the duration he gave the both of them to find a virtuous wife. Emeka was a very generous man and had helped many people in need, so he had a lot of people he could meet for assistance. He remembered a certain time when he helped a man called David, whom he saw standing on the road with a signpost begging for a job. So he went to his father's company and met David. He told David that he wants to understand what being poor felt like. So he is searching for a small village with good people. David laughed at Emeka. He felt he was joking. But when he realized that Emeka was being serious, he told Emeka about a village called Ovazie, not too far from his hometown. The people of Ovazie were known well for their benevolence and generosity. I think you would love it there and also learn a lot, David convinced Emeka. Emeka thanked David deeply for his assistance and headed home to pack his things ahead of the journey to Ovazie village. He went to the market to buy some local clothes and a wheelchair as well. After that, he started his journey to Ovazie village. He arrived at the village after a few days, found an uncompleted building, and he changed into the local clothes which he bought. Then he began practicing how to make use of the wheelchair. He practiced for a week until he was able to properly move around with ease. Then he entered into the village with the wheelchair, pretending to be crippled. Emeka rented a small house which was secluded from the main village so no one could monitor him. He divided the money left into two and kept one half for his feeding. The next day, Emeka wheeled himself around the market to be sure that no one could recognize him. But he discovered that the people of Ovazie were quite the opposite of what David described. Most of them were rude and harsh. Only a few villagers were receptive. However, Ovazie village was filled with many opportunities because their economy was booming. Emeka observed the market for a few weeks and decided to venture into the business of selling vegetables. He observed that there was much profit in the venture, and it wouldn't be too difficult for him since he was posing as a crippled man. Emeka would wake up as early as 5 a.m. to visit vegetable farmers and buy vegetables very cheap from them. Then he would go to the markets and display his wares. At first, his business wasn't moving too well. But as many people started to know Emeka and how kind-hearted he was, his business started booming. Emeka was making some money and he started having savings as well. Meanwhile, Ucha, unlike Emeka, went to a very big city called Ako, far from Ngede city. Ako was well known for their lavish lifestyle, and only the elites and prominent people lived in Ako city. In less than a month, Ucha squandered all the money which Mazi Chike shared between him and his brother. He started living in want and penury. He degraded from partying in clubs and lavishing money on women to cleaning toilets and working as a gate man. One day, Ucha couldn't endure it anymore. He told himself that his father was very rich, so why would he be suffering in a random city? However, he knew he couldn't return. He remembered that when he recently arrived at Aku City and was mingling with the elites and millionaires in high places, he heard of a woman called Aala who could transform a mere peasant to a billionaire. It was rumored that most of the millionaires in Aku City got their wealth through Aala. But her rules were strict and the price to pay wasn't fair. Many people who got their wealth through her ended up losing their lives or running mad in the space of 3 to 5 years. Uchenna thought deep and hard and concluded that he would consult Aala to make him very rich. With the wealth he would get from her, he will marry a beautiful woman and take her home to meet his father, Mazichike. The next day, Uchenna began his search for Aala. It didn't take him long because she was quite popular and well known for her spiritual powers in Aku City. When he got there, he saw a lot of luxurious cars parked outside. Unlike other witch doctors who lived in huts and demeaning places, Aala lived in a very big and gorgeous mansion. Aala welcomed Uchenna warmly and gave him great hospitality. It was as though she knew that Uchenna was famished and exhausted. She ordered her maid to serve him with a delicious meal with assorted wine, and after he had finished eating and drinking to his fill, Aala led Uchenna to a very big room with a king-sized bed and asked him to sleep and rest. While Uchenna was sleeping, he had a dream. In his dream, he found himself in a plain white and bright room. He saw Aala sitting on the floor with a calabash in front of her. She gestured to Uchenna to sit down opposite her, and then she said to him, "I know you're here for wealth, like your peers, but I can see that you come from a rich family. The men who come from my assistance are men with no hope to succeed in life. But you are different. I am on a mission to prove myself worthy, and I can't do that without money. This is why I need your help, Aala." Oh, really? Uchenna, I would advise you to put in the effort to complete your mission without my help. But if you will insist on getting my help, I'd have to do your bidding. I insist. Make me rich. Make me wealthy. Make me an influential and prominent personality in Aku City. I must warn you, there is a price to be paid, rules to be kept, and there are consequences and repercussions if you deviate or err in performing them. I am willing and ready to take on any task, as long as I would remain wealthy. Aala laughed at his determination. She dipped her hand into the calabash in front of her and brought out a very big snake. The snake had beautiful scale designed like that of an adire. The snake slithered through her hands and crawled towards Uchenna. Uchenna was terrified and tried to move, but Aala warned him not to move. With great wealth comes great responsibility and courage. If you cannot confront a mere snake, how can you handle great wealth? Aala said. The snake suddenly stopped and transformed into a very beautiful and sexy lady. Her eyeballs were blue and her skin was soft as silk. The lady went and sat beside Uchenna, holding his arms as if they were married. You are lucky. She has accepted you. That is your goddess of wealth. I'll give you a bag with her inside. Each time you sleep with her, she'll fill the bag with money the next morning. Whenever you need money, just open the bag. She'll crawl out and transform into a lady, and she will return to the bag when you've finished sleeping with her. Uchenna smiled at Ajala's words. He believed the task to be very easy. All I need to do is to sleep with such a beauty and I'll be rich. Why didn't I come to you earlier? Uchenna told her. However, there are 3 rules you must keep. Number 1, you must ensure you sleep with her at least twice in a week. Number 2, no one must see her except you. What about the 3rd rule? I will reveal it to you in due time. The lady transformed back into a snake and crawled into the calabash. Immediately Ajala closed the calabash. Uchenna woke up from his sleep. It was already morning, and when he checked the time and date, he realized he had spent 3 weeks at Ajala's house already. When he left the room, he saw Ajala waiting for him in front of the room. She gave him the same bag which she showed him in the dream. Then she reminded him not to forget the rules which she gave him. Uchenna thanked Ajala and took the bag safely back to the small room where he lived. He placed the bag inside the wardrobe, and at midnight, he opened it. The snake slithered out as Ajala explained and transformed into a very beautiful woman. Uchenna slept with the woman, which was the snake, and she went back into the bag after Uchenna was done, just as Ajala showed him. The next morning, when Uchenna opened the bag, it was filled with money. He couldn't believe his eyes. He was very happy. The first thing he brought was a very big safe in which he placed the bag which Ajala gave him. Uchenna started living large. Every night, he would sleep with the snake and be rewarded with money. He became very popular in Ako City, and a lot of women wanted him. So he had no trouble finding a wife for himself because of the wealth from Ajala. One day, Uchenna met a very beautiful lady called Shoma, whom he deeply admired and adored. He decided to take her home to Ngede City to see his father. Uchenna approached Chioma and told her that he loved her and that he would like to make her his wife. Chioma looked at his expensive outfit and luxurious car. She was impressed by his wealth, and so she accepted to marry him. Uchenna took Chioma to his house, but when they entered his bedroom, he was shocked to see Ajala inside his room already. Chioma couldn't see Ajala except Uchenna. Uchenna quickly left the bedroom and went to the living room, where he met Ajala already waiting for him. What's the matter? Why are you here? I haven't broken any rules so far. You are about to break one of them. The 3rd and the most important rule states that you must not sleep with any other woman except the snake. If I can't sleep with any other woman, how would I have children? You told me you are determined to pay any price. This is one of the many prices you have to pay. The moment you cheat on the snake, you'd run mad and eventually die. Watch out for the next part of this story.